Welcome to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and the stadium. Bowman Gray Stadium for the NASCAR.
Bowman Gray Stadium. Well, there could be some spoilers.
3, 2, 1.
What's up, everyone? Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving holiday. Oh, we are that much closer getting back to some racing action. I can't wait to see them cars get back on the high banks of Daytona. But of course, before that happens, I'm going to be making a stop at Bowman Gray Stadium for the NASCAR Clash, moving from the LA Coliseum to Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I love this move. I think we're going to have some cool racing and some very interesting things happen there. What I want to do today is I want to talk about some of the spoilers, and for very good reasons. People who I think are going to have some really strong runs and be contenders for the win this year, and also give you a preview of what it looks like with the cars, the NASCAR cars out there on the racetrack. Pretty interesting to see these cars on a bull ring like this. So let's just take a look. This is actually going back to 2012, but you can take a look at some of these names right here. Chase Elliott leading the points. This was K&N Series. Kyle Larson in third. Take a look at that. 7th place, Ben Kennedy. Ben Kennedy, big reason why all this took place for the Clash to move there. Obviously, you see why now, because Ben Kennedy raced there himself and obviously liked this racetrack. Now, let's take a look here at one of these guys who, no matter where we're at, is always going to be a favorite. But obviously, pretty strong run there at Bowman Gray.
Well, guys, Kyle Larson starts on the front row for the 3rd time in 5 races, but it's his first pole. And Kyle, did running all those midget and sprint car races on them little short tracks help you get around a place like this?
Yeah, for sure. You know, even though this is a short track, it feels a lot shorter than what it does in a midget or a sprint car just because the cars are so much bigger. So it's a little bit of a learning curve, and I'm happy to get the pole just because you can get caught up in some serious trouble there in the back.
Kyle Larson, obviously a contender anywhere he goes, and no doubt going to be a contender for the NASCAR Clash this year. Now, this track, again, this goes back to 2012. A lot of changes taking place right now. The guardrails coming out, safer barriers going in. Track just looks like it's going to be a very cool place to be at. But the one thing about it is the racing surface, and that's one thing that hasn't changed in a long time. And back then, Derek Pergnasigno was able to catch up with a legendary name. And I'm going to tell you, if you don't catch Derek's show here on YouTube, check it out.
Has it changed any differently over the years since you raced here?
Well, it's changed a lot in some ways. In some ways, it's the same old thing. The track itself, I can't tell any difference, other than they used to have cross ties around on the infield, and you'd run over them sometime, but they took them off and put little speed bumps, I guess they call them out there. But they really put on a show here.
So this track, obviously known for a lot of legends out there. Bobby Allison finally getting that victory there that he was deserved for so long here right before his passing. But there's so many other names, current names right now, who I want to include in this. And one of them was this guy right here, who no doubt gets a lot of talk and a lot of TV time. And back then in 2012 was the BioBlast guy.
Hi, I'm Darrell Wallace Jr. from Concord, North Carolina, driver of the number 18 Coca-Cola Toyota Camry from Joe Gibbs Racing.
Now, Bubba Wallace, obviously with JGR then, still with that Toyota camp. And we're going to be talking a lot more about Bubba Wallace in this episode right here. But the thing about this is this racetrack, the difference in it between there and the LA Coliseum is this racetrack actually has grass in the infield, doesn't have that barrier around it like the Coliseum does. But the one thing that's the same, the pits are outside. So you're going to have to be competitive, because if you go off the racetrack for the pits, obviously you're going to be out of the race. And there's going to be a lot of cool beating and banging to this race. But let's take a look at this green flag start here, right here, and you can get an idea of what we're in store for.
Field side by side, 2 by 2 as they work out of turn number 4. Green flag goes in the air. We're underway.
A little bit of contact between the front row, and that's not going to be unusual occurrence.
Little bumping and banging once again through 3 and 4. On the inside, Larson trying to hold the spot. Corey LaJoie on the outside.
Now with that right there, you can hear another name up there, Corey LaJoie, obviously out there as well. Not sure whether Corey will be part of the Clash this year or not, but definitely having a strong run that day. But there's another name, another NASCAR name, current name, who, well, he didn't have the best outcome here.
Kyle Larson that gets in and behind him. Wow! Take a look at this. The 14 of Daniel Suarez up on his side.
Look at the damage to the right front corner of that Toyota.
So that is obviously one of the reasons why they're putting in the safer barriers, making changes to this racetrack to make it safer, not have situations like that. But we already got to look at it here. We got to take a look at these names already. We've got Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Bubba Wallace, and Daniel Suarez. These are contenders that are going to be there for the win at this race, in my opinion, anyway. One of these things that I want to continue on is Bubba Wallace, because Bubba just seemed to have a very strong run with this right here. You take a look at this right here, starting on the inside of the second row, you can see him making moves.
Coming out of turn number 4, side by side once again. Kyle Larson on the inside, Corey LaJoie on the outside, green flag back in the air.
Really, really important for Corey LaJoie right now to try to get a hold on the inside. Darrell Wallace Jr. would love to get up there. I think Corey has a hold now.
Darrell Wallace Jr. spun his tires coming out of turn number 2. That opened the door for Corey LaJoie.
Now I want to take a look at this final restart right here. Bubba Wallace on the outside, Corey LaJoie on the pole there. And, man, this is an interesting finish to the race.
Green flag goes back in the air.
Corey's been perfect on these restarts. Darrell Wallace Jr. drives it hard and drives it too hard in the corner.
Goes out wide, a green-white checkered finish. Ben Kennedy slides up the racetrack too. Corey LaJoie, once he gets by, if he sees the white flag, he's got 1 lap to go.
Moffitt is up to second now. Darrell Wallace Jr. back to third. The white flag is out.
One more time around. Corey LaJoie working his way. Oh, the 15 of Yaconelli gets turned around.
Moffitt gets turned around.
Moffitt turned around running second. Corey LaJoie coming out of turn number 4. LaJoie wins at Bowman Gray Stadium.
So some wild action coming down the checker flag. Obviously, Corey LaJoie getting that win with this race. Very cool to see him get this back then. But you take a look at this. I mean, cars are still crashing after the checkered flag. You take a look right there. That is Ben Kennedy coming across the grass right there. It's another reason why I'm glad that there is the football field in the infield. So there's going to be so much more action that happens with all this right here. But still, you can see this, just the chaos everywhere. And, man, this led to some more chaos after the race down in front of everybody.
Spins the 11 out, and they're not happy. And as a matter of fact, they're going to talk about it. Maybe a little extra than talk. Darrell Wallace Jr. keeping his hat on. Brett Moffitt in the 11.
So Bubba Wallace, Brett Moffitt putting on a little show out there for the fans, having a little issue. Bubba, following that, getting a police escort out of the racetrack, which the fans went crazy to that. And, hopefully we don't see none of that this year. But obviously, most of the times at the Madhouse, you do see some police action that takes place. I doubt we'll see that with the Cup action out there. But still very interesting to this. But again, we got to look at these names. Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Bubba Wallace, Daniel Suarez, going to be contenders with this right here. And there's another name I want to add to this as well. And this is Ryan Preece. And this is pretty wild. Ryan Preece has been a winner there in the modified series. And man, I mean, you think about this, moving over there to RFK. This is a guy who just, as I said in a previous episode, it wasn't that long ago, kind of seemed to be the odd man out. Now he's in a sweet little deal right there. Been a winner there in the past, so he knows his way around this racetrack. What better way to come out and start out the season with some momentum by winning the Clash. So very interesting to see what all happens with this, and hopefully some cool racing. Now it is cold as hell in North Carolina in February, so hopefully the action on the racetrack heats it up and everything will be cool, and maybe everybody will want it to come back there again. Be pretty interesting to see. Now, if you're new to this show or if you haven't yet, man, subscribe to this channel. Look at all these episodes here. Fun things to watch, and we're going to be continuing all the way through 2025. Going to be a busy season for me. Let's put it that way. So I hope you join me, and if you like what's going on here, subscribe to the channel, and man, let's talk some racing. Throw them comments down below. Tell me what you think about Bowman Gray and all these little situations, and are we going to see any police out there on the racetrack this year? Be interesting. But anyways, hope you're off to a great week out there, and as always, we'll see you at the checkered flag.